Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cocktail Classified. Today, I got my good friend Cesar from Casa Lumbre in. Welcome, Cesar.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, for listeners, tell us who you are.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
My name is Cesar Sandoval, first generation Mexican American, born in El Paso, Texas. And all my family's from Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. So we moved at a young age. I think I was 6 or 8 months. I moved to San Diego. I have 2 older sisters and a single mother. So I was raised by women. And now I live in San Diego still. Worked in the beverage industry. I started as a host, busser, server, and of course, eventually bartender and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And now I currently work as a brand ambassador, as a national portfolio ambassador for Casa Lumbre Spirits all over the U.S.
That's awesome. So it's kind of quite a journey for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's the natural progression. It was either that or real estate, as they say. And I chose the BA.
I chose the BA path. Cool. I didn't realize you're from El Paso.
Yeah,
I went to school out there in Las Cruces. So.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up there, but I was born there, and I would go back 2 to 3 times a year, visit my grandma, visit my tias, and all that good stuff. But yeah,
that's awesome.
It holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, for sure. So how long have you been in the industry, would you say?
I think if I do my math correctly, I should be around 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So 18 years. I started when I was 15 and a half. I started at Chili's. So it's actually a great foundation.
Yeah.
But they were doing a massive hire because they were opening up a new restaurant in San Diego. And I was just looking to make more money to buy a drum set, essentially. I had already guitars and everything. I'm a musician as well. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. Someone's like, well, Chili's is hiring. And I applied. I got the job. And that's where I started. And I was just like immediately hooked. I love being able to, number one, control the floor, of course, but that immediate satisfaction I can give to, a guest and like be able to go from a bad or shitty day into a good one, or a good day into a better one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm sure you learned a lot working at that corporate level at the start, right?
Man, I recommend it to everyone because the foundation is incredible. They've been there. They have everything. They have systems, they have everything in place that sets you up for the future. Like, I know it doesn't sound romantic, but I think that's where anyone should start. Obviously not Chili's, but like something like Brinker International and all that. Yeah. And then after that, you start going like more into the craft side, more into the craft side, more into the craft side. And then eventually you'll be somewhere where, you're really proud of, where you have say in the creation of menus, etc. So I think it's a great way to start.
Awesome. So when did you kind of dabble into getting your feet behind the bar?
Okay. So so at high school parties, I was always the one behind the table serving the drinks. Sorry, I was 21 and up. Let's just say that. Yeah. And I was never really the drinker. I was the one behind the bar, as I said. Obviously, it was ginger ale and Jameson, or vodka sodas or whatever. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. And then when I really got into it, I was working at a sushi joint in San Diego. And one day manager comes out and it's like, bartender broke their arm. Can anyone here bartend? And I just raised my hand. And they're like, you can bartend? I'm like, yeah, I can. I didn't really know what to do. And so that's where I first started. And it was a sushi joints, a lot of Japanese ingredients and all that good stuff. And then eventually it was like, okay, I can definitely do this. And I started reading the books and kind of getting into it. And then I searched for a craft bar where I can really like kind of cut my teeth and learn more. So,
awesome. So what was that first craft bar?
The craft bar, it no longer exists, but it was called La Villa.
Okay.
It was in Little Italy, San Diego. I had a guy, Dane Phoenix, who taught me a lot and kind of learned everything. It was funny because that was the time I didn't have an iPhone then. It wasn't instant access. And so someone comes up and they'd be like, hey, can I get a lemon drop and a Cosmopolitan or something like that? And I'd be like, absolutely. I just need to get something from the back. And so I'd go to the back and I'd be like, hey, Dane, someone's asking me to do this. He's like, do this, that. And so that's how I did it. And then eventually like, all right, well, I'm never going to forget that cocktail again. So you kind of start building your library in your head. And then after I was there for 5 years, there was an amazing beverage director at the time called Adam Lockridge, and he came in. They all came in. They loved me for their espresso martinis. Mr. Black didn't exist yet, so I didn't use Mr. Black.
Okay.
But they would come in on their break and do espresso martinis, and they loved them. And they're like, "Hey, man, I have a project for you. I'm gonna be opening something soon." So Adam took me under his wing, went there, and then I started in that Whisk and Ladle hospitality area. And after that, doing that for 4 or 5 years, then I got to do more of their concepts in restaurants.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, that's how it started. To kind of think naturally progressing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So you've had a lot of mentors kind of throughout your career path that have kind of guided you in the way.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. What was probably the one piece of advice they gave you that has still stuck with you today?
Hospitality first. The drink at the end of the day, we can remake it. Honestly, honesty too. Like, hey, sorry, I don't know how to make that. Can you remind me, or I'm gonna go look. But I think hospitality is the first and most important things. Greeting the guests, acknowledging them, all that good stuff was always first. Water first, let them hydrate, and then we get into cocktails. You know, people can ask you, "What's your favorite cocktail? What's the best seller?" and all that good stuff. And I can tell them what I like, but I can sell you a Negroni, but if you don't like bitter or gin, probably not going to work. So just kind of understanding that guests, acknowledging them, and at the end of the day, we're both humans. Yeah. And after that, then we get into the food and beverage side. So I think that's something that is innate in me since I was a young child, especially growing up with, I said, my mom and my sisters. That was always a thing. Like my mom's like, ofrecerle agua, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And so hospitality is the number one, always.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people think it has gotten better, but there's still kind of a bridge that needs to be continuing to be built for hospitality, right? Like we've seen kind of the shift of the younger generations coming in that don't necessarily have that bug built into them because it's just a generational change, right? I think we've all seen it. So
yeah. And that's why I tell people, you know, it's the famous saying of like, we're not in the food and beverage industry, we're in the hospitality industry. I think that's completely true. And then, you know, that Whisk and Ladle hospitality ideology really stemmed from Danny Meyer, from setting the table and his philosophy. And I still have that book today, and I still read it every so often. And it's a good refresher because I think it's one of the most, speaking of foundations, it's the foundation of a mindset that changes you. So I think that is the way that everyone should read that book that's in the hospital. That's what I would start
with. It was one of the courses I had to take when I got my degree for hospitality as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure. So going back a little bit, so you said you read some books to learn. What were the first books that kind of like, I need to get into this? Like, oh yes, okay, I see what's happening.
Yeah, they were sometimes just given to me, or you know, from Dane and them. I think also Danny Meyer, already mentioned that one. I can't remember the long books with all the cocktails, the black and white. I don't remember.
Mr. Boston.
There you go.
Yeah, Mr. Boston was a good one. Yeah.
Yes. So had that. There was another one of like cocktails at home to make syrup. So there's been a lot. And then eventually you start getting nerdier and, you know, liquid intelligence and those things. But nowadays, like, it's crazy how much information's out in the world, like with Chat GPT, with AI and everything. You could just kind of Google. I don't want to lose the art because I think people, that's another thing, right? You just type in, it spits out, you know, I want a spicy hibiscus something, and just like spits it out. And you're like, well, it's the recipe. You still have to adjust and know the components of cocktails. But yeah, those were some of the foundational books. I'm trying to think of more, but
Mr. Boston was a good one. Yeah. That's the first one I had too that I started learning off of, and then built it from there. And the same thing, it's just like we didn't have the apps and all that stuff yet when I started either. So just kind of learning by doing and asking a bunch of questions when reps would come in would be how I learned.
Yeah.
Sure. Cool. So we talked about that. Let's talk a little bit about where you're at now. So the BA role that you're in, the National Brand Ambassador role. So how did you get into, I saw you worked for another tequila brand before in San Diego.
Yeah.
And then now you're in one of the nationals for.
Yeah. So really where it all started is I was taking industry trips down to Fortaleza and Don Fulano and Arete. And at the time it was also Derrumbes and G4. And so I was doing these industry trips, kind of fell in love. And that's kind of what it was like, oh, I need to dig in a little bit more to Mexico and everything. It makes you see the world in a different light. But after 2 or 3 of those, the fourth time that I was going to go, Sergio Mendoza, he gives me a call and he's like, "Hey, are you coming to the industry trip this year?" And I'm like, "No, I can't for whatever reason." And he says, "Well, what if, I pay for your flight and I take care of everything over here. I'd like to, chat business and
Yeah.
talk about the future." So I go, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" So we go and we ended up talking and kind of taking a different route of the industry trip. I was just kind of on the side with him and we were doing our own thing. And so group one comes, he does this beautiful, the man, I love him to death, but he also speaks so well.
Yeah.
And so he does his opening speech and everything like that. And then we do the tour. And then group two comes, he does the same speech, but instead of him being like, "All right, let's go on the distillery tour," he says, "Cesar is going to take you on the distillery tour." And that was like right there on the spot, like on my little tryout, I guess.
Yeah.
And did it, obviously passed. And then we worked together for several years. I was working with him. I was working with Esteban Morales for the Rumbes as well.
Yeah.
And that's where it started. And then eventually, Fortaleza with them as well, kind of helping out the family.
Yeah.
And as I was doing that part-time and still being a bar manager, which was great because I still love to be behind the stick.
Yeah.
And doing that. And then in November, I get a text from Camille Austin, and she says, "Hey, my name's Camille Austin. Your name got dropped a few times. I'd love to meet you, but we're opening up a new project with Casa Lumbre Spirits, and I want to see if you want to be involved." And I did know about, Montelobos, Sancho Reyes. I knew about Ivan a little bit. And so we started chatting. We had about 3-4 meetings, and everything was lining up to where eventually what would be the first brand would be Abalos. And so I accepted the offer. I told Sergio. Sergio was nothing but excited for me. He's like, "I actually told Camille she should take you." And so then I came to Casa Lumbre. So I started in Casa Lumbre. November, we accepted. A couple of months, I had to make sure the bar that I was working at the time was fully set.
Yeah.
And then I said, "All right, well, let's start March 6th. I want to start on a Monday. I want to start the first Monday of March. Let's do that."
Yeah.
And March 6th, 2020 happens. We come in, we do that. And then we just start hearing on the news about this COVID stuff. And the next week, the world shut down. So we had to pivot all the onboarding, all the things were used to doing in person and flying to New York to onboard and etc. And we switched to digital. And it was a huge learning curve. I didn't really know much. I wasn't a super digital person. And you just adjust and pivot, and we made it succeed. We didn't have these beautiful Abalos mini bottles then where it was easy. So I was taking Abalos, labeling it,
and doing it
taking it out, shipping it out of the US, and doing Zoom conferences and calls and trying to educate people. And it's just obviously having that barrier.
Yeah.
It's not the same, but we succeeded. That's the way it started. And so Abalos Nixa were the first babies. Eventually Ojo de Tigre came in, and then little by little we started adding more brands. And eventually I got promoted to do the entire portfolio for Casa Lumbre Spirits. So that's not what I do. And our latest baby, or one of our latest babies, is Almave, which has been great, non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
And so now dipping into the non-alcoholic cocktail scene is incredible. It's something new. It's something fun. Something that, I used to do in the sense of juices and syrups and making it work.
Yeah.
But as far as non-alcoholic spirits, man, it's growing so fast, so rapidly, and the options are almost endless.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. It's kind of wild how I was looking at a poll somewhere a week and a half ago, and like 40% increase in NA drinking, and then spirits trending is down.
Yep.
So we're definitely seeing that people are spending. We went to a CLIB seminar in December, and people are spending. Gen Z is spending more money on pets and wellness.
Well, yeah.
So that falls into the NA category. So I'm curious to see what continues to happen in that category. So,
we did a lot of data and research, and absolutely. I mean, it's a thing. The younger generation isn't drinking. They have, I mean, man, with all the access to everything else that you can have to alter your mindset. I think drinking, I feel I compare it to maybe some of us, our generation, looking at people that smoke cigarettes, maybe or uncles or fathers or mothers that like smoke cigarettes, and you're like, "Oh, I hate cigarette smoke." I feel like that's what they look at with drinking. They're like, "Oh, drinkers."
Yeah, that's actually a good.
Yeah. So I feel like that's how they look at it. And also, you know, you and me, we'll be at a bar, we'll be 2-3 seats away or even across the bar. And I'll say, how you guys doing, man? You know, hope how's your day going? Can I buy you a beer?
Yeah.
And these kids nowadays, and no offense to anyone, but they sit, they look at their phone, take the receipt, and you even sometimes pay with your phone and a QR code, and then you leave. So there's this human interaction that's being missed. And I'm just a little worried about in a couple of years how our human interaction is going to be, because even at sales, you know, you see, yo, what's up? How are you? And then you see some people that you've seen on camera, and then, hey, hi, hello, and kind of leave. So I hope this human interaction is the most important part of really society and us in this community.
Yeah. And I do think to that point, I think COVID did change a lot of how we interact with people, right? I think everybody's kind of getting used to being behind a screen and talking to people, right? And living on social media and doing all that stuff where they're starting to lose track of what human interaction is, right? What we do.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at the screen, you can edit, you can cut, you could do 100 takes, and then, oh, here's the perfect one. But in real life, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the disconnect. There's okay to be mistakes. There's okay if you fumble your words a little bit. It's all right. We're all human.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
But the art of perfection is definitely something that's out there, especially in the digital world. Having that digital face versus your in-person
100%
personality.
I mean, maybe even that's what you're thinking right now. Yeah, like, yeah, man, Cesar's cool on Instagram, but
you and I met through Nino, and then we started talking on social media, and then now this is our first actual like official conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's always just pass by and like, hey, what's up? How's it going? What's up?
I mean, you guys are crushing it. You guys are always busy. I'm always busy, but I always find that time to say hello. But I'm glad we're having these conversations, and that's what Tales is about. And all of these conventions, I think that's what we forget. Yes, the best new spirit and what's out there and fresh and new, but also the connection. And again, for me, that's the most important part.
Yeah. So going back a little bit we're going back to your bartender side of it. You've come from a bartender background as a BA. Are you seeing more BAs? Are companies looking more for BAs in the bartending scene, or do you think they're looking for more of that marketing bartender? Because I've seen both. They're the marketing BAs, because I've seen the ones that have not had any bartending experience. And right, they're great people. Like, I'm not knocking them, but like, they don't have the bartending experience. But there's some people in our generation, the newer generations, like look at a BA, like come in and like, what is this person talking about? They've never been a bartender, like, or they're just pitching me something.
Yeah. I think companies, especially the better ones, are still looking at someone that has that history of restaurant knowledge and bartending knowledge. Being able to speak to another bartender in that sort of code, if you will, or lingo is very, very important. And I think that companies are also hiring those that maybe may have those bartending skills and more on the drink influencers or whatever, but that's where, you know, the marketing comes and you have that. So I still think they're going for the brand ambassadors that have bartending experience, and hopefully these brand ambassadors, because I think there's also a stereotype of what a brand ambassador is, or a misconception, I should say, of what it is. And so I hope to see, and that's kind of my goal I love to share what I know when I can to anyone, and anyone that knows me knows that. Like, I'm happy to jump on a random call and, hey man, I just want to ask you some questions. I don't know this, I don't know that. But I hope that all the brand ambassadors that are watching, listening, or starting to try to get into this role, start knowing that it's a little bit more than party, drinking, and being the face on social. There's a little bit more to that. You have to pivot, you have to adjust, you have to be able to help the marketing team with insights, you have to help the commercial team with sales and sort of as well insights. So you have to be a little bit of everything, and you have to be able to do a PowerPoint, an Excel sheet, like, you know, do some things like that. And I think those are those skills that sometimes, whether it be high school, college, or just general life, sometimes don't teach you.
Yeah, for sure. So there's trade advocacy and there's sales side of it on both ends of the BA spectrum, depending on what position you're in, right?
At the end of the day, everything has to result back to sales. Is the way at least I look at it, and I'm sure the companies do, because it's a business.
Exactly.
You know, so at the end of the day, it is that. But we're not the ones that like, hey man, $23.99 if you buy it today. Like, that's also not us, and it should never really be. We're part of the education. We are storytellers. We are connectors, and that is the main purpose of what advocacy should do. But at the end of the day, it needs to result in something. But again, There are the people that like this transactional thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, I have this, and if you buy 10 of them, I'll give you X amount of money. We know those conversations happen.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
part of the business.
Yeah.
But then it could just be like, man, Cesar was cool. That product is delicious. The story is great. Or I met the master distiller and he was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it for my bar.
Yeah.
So it has to be a little bit of both. But I am more on the storyteller education and know that our products are not for every bar or for every person. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. So that's another thing that a lot of people want to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Why be everywhere? Why not just be in the right places?
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. So that's a great point. A lot of how I interact, like with brand ambassadors, even people that come into the bars and the bars that I've owned and I consult with, is like it's all relationship based. Like I'm gonna treat you as a human. Like there's some people that look down on sales reps and stuff. I don't. I'm like they're still human. They're doing their job. Like I will taste this Captain Morgan coconut shaped rum to see because you need me to taste it, but I'm probably not going to bring it in.
Yeah.
Right. And I think again, going back to what we said earlier, it's all relationship based, and a lot of these younger generations coming in don't know how to navigate that field, I guess is what I'm getting at, right? So I'm trying to figure, I think that was a good point we brought up in this, is like relationships are important. Is important, and having that personal connection with someone is really important. It's part of hospitality, right?
Yeah,
100%. One of the key pillars of it.
100%.
Yeah.
If you don't have people skills or communication skills, this might not be the line of work for you. If you genuinely don't like to talk to people or hang out and socialize, yeah, you might be, or you could just, maybe it's not the wrong side of business. Maybe you're just not on the advocacy side. Maybe you should be maybe more behind the closed doors and creative, in whether that be admin or something else.
Marketing, anything like that in the background, doing all the creative stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your travels. So I know you travel across the U.S. You do basically have a full team that also helps you, right? So I guess I'm going to put you on the spot here. What is your favorite market in the U.S.?
Wow, yeah, that's right.
Or favorite two markets? All of them.
Yeah. No. All right. Let's see. They're all for different places. I think New York is my number one. It's my home and my second home, I should say. Been debating about moving over there, actually as well. I had the opportunity in 2021, but I had 3 large dogs at the time and 3 large dogs in New York. You know how that goes. So New York is great. I love the energy. I thrive in it. I think there's people that love or hate New York or a little bit of both. I love it. I thrive in it and I just get my way around. So New York, I think, is my number one. I love Miami to have some fun. You know, when it's not super humid or raining, people are great. It's a vibe, it's energy, it's something else. I love Austin. Austin is fantastic. It's definitely one of my favorite cities. I also have my tocayo Cesar over there. So little mayor of Austin / El Paso. He shows me a good time.
Awesome.
And then a couple of new markets that I've been kind of really loving and kind of growing is Phoenix. Phoenix has a great scene. I really love Phoenix. And I recently went to Seattle, and I hadn't been to Seattle in about maybe 4 or 5 years. And I was like, man, Seattle has something. Like, I like it. So I do like every city. I won't tell you what my least favorite is. But all of those cities are great, and they all have their own unique twist. And there's still a lot of places that I haven't visited because I think sometimes companies will say, you know, they have these terms of primary market, secondary market. So there's this quote unquote secondary market that is not relevant, or your products aren't distributed there. So I still haven't visited a lot of places that I really want to go. But on my free time, I'll tell you, I like to go to places with like a lot of nature and a lot of peace. We do this for work. So I love the food and restaurant. That's what when I travel, that's what I do, even on my own personal time. But I do love the no cell service sort of style of, you know, Joshua Tree, Yosemite or something. So I also love those things.
That's awesome. New Mexico is definitely, if you haven't been out in that wilderness out there, it's
I haven't been, and I'm going, well, I have been, I should say. I just didn't get to explore. I was in and out. I did a pop-up at Los Conejos.
So
I did it. We did a pop-up there. I was there for 3-4 days. So this was back in 2021. So I haven't been back since. But I'm going back now around September 9th or 10th. So I'm excited to go.
Yeah, that's a good time to go.
Yeah.
It's a great time. In New Mexico, it's perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. So you've traveled, you said you've gone to like pretty much East Coast, West Coast, South. What are you seeing cocktail wise? Because I know New York, the palates are a little bit drier, right? That's something on the East Coast. Come down to the South, we love our sugar, like sweet tea.
100%. Like
And then California, they're kind of a mix. And then Seattle, I haven't been there yet, so I'm not sure what their palate is out there. But
you're spot on,
yeah, yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Spot on with all of those.
Mhm.
I think, we used to look at, and we still do, New
Yeah.
York is sort of the pillar, at least for the United
Mm.
States, of what cocktail should be and experience. And I think that's why the whole buzz is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miami loves their fresh, and you could also tell because what they drink. You have the aperitivos and Italian
Mm.
influence in New York a lot. Obviously, agaves everywhere.
Yeah.
Then you go to the south, it's more on these white spirits,
Mm.
sugarcane
Mm.
spirits. Texas is a little bit of a hodgepodge of a little bit of
Yep.
everything. Obviously, agave, sotol, and all
Mm.
that good stuff.
Mm.
And then Seattle, I feel like it's almost what the city thinks, but a lot of salinity,
Okay.
obviously,
Okay.
oysters and all that
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
stuff. A lot of pine,
Okay.
a lot of fresh.
Yeah.
They still have the classics, but I do see a lot of the involvement of, you know, um, rosemary, dill, and these fresh ingredients, but
Okay.
also these salinity
Yeah.
components and bitter components. So
Okay.
they have a little bit of a mix there, but yeah.
That's awesome. That makes sense, I guess. If it's at higher elevation, you need to like add more stuff because your tastes get muted.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
maybe.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but that's from what I've.
I don't know how high is Seattle. I know Denver's high there, and the cocktails are delicious out there. It's just they taste is different
Yeah,
compared because
I
you're
don't
you,
know. I
yeah,
wouldn't be able to tell you, but
yeah.
it is higher. But it's beautiful coast, and of course you get fresh oysters. What do you pair that with?
Mhm.
White wine and sparkling wine, and
Yeah.
refreshing vespers and
Mm.
martinis. So I think that's what it leans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what cocktail have you had that's like been like killer from one of those markets? Like it's like an exceptional cocktail. It's like oh hell, I want to try this again.
Let's see. I think the last cocktail that I was very, very impressed. Actually in San Diego, at this place called the Fishery.
Hmm.
They have a cocktail called Little Dragon, and it's with Almave.
Okay.
The bar manager there, Eddie Avila, created it. It's like tarragon, a little bit of an acid solution. It has Almave, and I'm forgetting another component, but beautiful, crisp, clear. One of the best non-alcoholic cocktails
Yep.
that I've had, and I tell them multiple
Mm.
times, and I take people there.
Yeah.
But that was a cocktail that I was like, "Holy crap, this is delicious." When I go to Super Bueno, corn sour, that
Yeah.
corn sour
Hmm.
is incredible. Um, Allegory in DC has had some killer cocktails. They just redid their menu.
Yeah, I just
But
saw
I
that.
just think
Yeah.
everyone has a banger cocktail. In most of these places, the lifting of what was the saying? All tides.
Um,
Help me out here. I'm not really good
God.
with the English saying sometimes.
Like I don't know what is it saying?
Let's see.
What is it in Spanish?
All rising tides lift all boats or something.
Oh yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, yes, the tides lift the boats. Like everybody kind of like
Yeah.
works together to
Cut
kind of
that one
elevate
out.
it.
We don't know this. We don't know this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But I just think the
yeah,
elevation of
mm,
food and beverages is just growing.
yeah,
It's harder. I wouldn't say harder, but it's more difficult to find a crappy, shitty cocktail
yeah,
than a good one. You
yeah,
can find a good cocktail nowadays
yeah.
pretty much anywhere.
Which is good. It means it's been a lot of work of everybody before us, kind of getting the consumers educated. And I do think COVID did help that as well because we had a lot of people doing cocktail classes, and our guests now had to go buy ingredients. Like
Yeah.
that's why we have the shortage because
Yeah.
it's not really a shortage, but people just started buying it more.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
On
actually
the
one of those people
yeah,
giving out cocktail classes
yeah, yeah,
during COVID as
yeah,
well.
yeah. We had to do it for night shift because we needed to keep the bills and the lights going. So that's what
Yeah.
we were doing to keep everything afloat.
Tell you, man, I was
Yeah,
just trying to survive sort of
yeah,
thing,
yeah, exactly. But we're here now. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, you guys,
yeah,
are lucky,
yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
empathy is the key word of this
mm,
industry.
yeah, for sure. So, what trends? Talking about now, we're here at Tails, so everybody knows that we're recording here at Tails this year. So, one of the big points is evolution or evolve. So, how have you seen? Where do you see the evolution of cocktail culture going? Where do you see the future?
What I've noticed, at least in my personal perspective, is the evolution of more wellness events
Mhm.
that like you said, I think the parties at night are great, the big ones,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
whole drinking. But I think
Yeah.
we're starting to see a little bit of a shift of daytime activities,
Mhm.
of wellness activities. I mean, look at the run clubs. We did it last year. We did run club with Josh Harris and the Trick Dog
Mhm.
group and all
Yeah.
that. And we had ice baths as
Mhm.
well, which was amazing,
Yeah.
and especially in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I think you're starting to see the trend of being able to kind of spread out your day a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that, again, like I mentioned earlier, the cocktail is great, the food's great, but what's most important is
Yeah.
hospitality. And I think with Tails, we're starting to get there. Yes, the guest bartender, the cocktails they're serving and everything around it is great,
Yep.
but again, the connection. And I think people are starting to see that. Like, I don't need to go to every single event.
Yeah.
I noticed this Tails was a lot calmer. And I don't know if it's because my own personal energy perspective of being a little bit more even keel
Mm.
the whole week, but I feel like people are kind of okay with, hey, you know what, I'm going to choose one and I'm actually going to put my energy, because also trying to hit all the events, not only is it stressful, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm in and out. All right, see you guys later. There's no real connection. I just wanted to see it and sort of check it off my list or put it
Yeah.
on my story so everyone can see I was
Yeah.
there and go on to the next.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of, again, missing the point. So I think what is happening is daytime shift, um, wellness and all that good stuff.
Mm.
And hopefully the education gets to a point where it's increased as well, because I
Yeah.
love the seminars.
Yeah.
Um, and hopefully we can do something in the near future for the people that are first time at Tails or maybe can't afford the seminar
Yeah.
days. Maybe there's more scholarship programs. I would love to see
Yeah.
that to be able to get them into that education.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think education is still really paramount to what we do, because bartending is a trade, and we need to make sure we're passing down our knowledge. It's basically knowledge based, even though everything is now on our phones, right? There's still that
Yeah.
component of mentor mentee kind of mentality that needs to happen in this industry. That's my feeling. That I don't.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah,
completely agree. And I
yeah,
think that
yeah,
was one of the points that you were saying, like
yeah,
COVID, what that happened is
yeah,
I think a lot of the OGs were like, this is my time to now either retire, move on to a project that I've been meaning to do, and
yeah,
now's the time. So I think the Jedi Master to Padawan situation there kind of is skipped, and
mhm,
that's where a responsibility that our cars is to continue that
yeah,
tradition. So
for
yeah,
sure.
I completely agree.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on Tales this year. This seems very like even us when we came in, it was different than last year. Where we have all the wellness stuff that's happening. Campari had the massage chairs, which I've never seen them do before. I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm like, I think that's really important because this industry will kill you if you don't take care of yourself. And I think a lot of brands are starting to realize that health and wellness is something that, especially the younger generation, is all about. Like I said earlier in the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, and so I
Yeah.
mean, this is what we do with
Yeah.
Armava, especially, the co-founder being Lewis
Yeah.
Hamilton
Mm,
and all that. He's totally, it's not a marketing thing. It's just who he is.
mm,
He's a wonderful person. But the ice baths that we did, we've done massages. We're starting to see a lot of those coffee and chill
mhm,
events
mhm.
at multiple cities. And yeah, what can we do to kind of bring the social battery a little bit up,
Yeah.
re-energize the body? Because again, like this industry, if you let it can take a toll. If you don't,
Yeah.
respect your boundaries, and you can go down real quick and be burnt out at
Yeah.
the end, and at the end of it. And that's what we don't want for any.
Exactly. Yeah, especially when it's people are trying to chase that fame, the Instagram fame, or making their bar Insta famous, or whatever we want to call it nowadays. It's just like they're losing sight of what the purpose of a bar is. And again, maybe this might be my opinion, but like with Night Shift, it was about what we built. It wasn't about
Mhm.
us, like the two founders. It was more about the team we brought together, what we were doing for the community, and then we let it go from there.
Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
even myself, we have to remind ourselves to, hey,
yeah,
just put that phone away. Even having it out while I'm talking
mm,
to you, even though I'm not texting, I'm not doing, having it out. It's almost subconsciously like, do you even care what I'm saying? Or are we
yeah.
even connecting? So having, put the phone. It'd be great to see an event that's like, hey, no
No
phones.
phones. Yeah,
Like no phones at all. You have
yeah,
to leave your phone here.
yeah,
If you're not cool with it, then it's not for you. And then just completely disconnect
yeah.
for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Be really cool.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like artists that are doing that, and like music artists as well, that are
Okay.
actually you're making you lock your phone or put a sticker on it so they can
Oh,
enjoy the show.
okay, cool.
So
I like that.
those events are kind of cool. I haven't seen one yet in the spirits world, but it might be kind of cool to do some kind of sensory
Coming soon.
class. Yeah,
Coming soon.
exactly. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your brands,
Yeah.
naturally, because we haven't talked about that yet. So what would you like to? I know Almave's been a big one, so and it's actually really delicious. I use a Blanco in a lot of my placements when I do consulting. So
okay, cool. Thank you.
yeah, of course.
Free samples for you anytime.
Yeah, for sure. I know Nino's based in Houston. She does a
Yeah,
great job
she
there,
is.
so she takes care of whatever we need
Love
as
it.
far as y'all's need.
Love it.
But for people who haven't tried it before, what is Almave? Right.
So Almave is the first ever full agave non-alcoholic distilled spirit. So in the essence, it's a non-alcoholic tequila. We don't call it tequila for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But it's the first ever to actually be 100% agave. So Weber Blue Agave from Atotonilco, Jalisco. We throw those keywords in like everyone else, sustainable and all that good stuff. So I don't want to sort of quote unquote bore you, but it's done in a very well. Obviously, our master distiller, Ivan Saldana, PhD in agave and sort of a mastermind. So he respects the plant, and that's what Casa Lumbre is about. Is the raw material is number one. That is what we start with. So we start with an amazing agave. We then harvest it. We cook it in oven bricks for 36 hours. So traditional, if you obviously been to tequila distilleries. Yeah. And then what we do is after we do that, we do roller mill extraction. And so now you have the gaso and the aguamiel, and then we just skip fermentation. So we don't actually add any yeast. Skipping fermentation, going straight into distillation. We distill around 7 times. And now you have this pure distillate. Yeah. Some of the bagazo that's left over, we kind of redistill / almost kind of reduce, and that'll be our sweet component for the agave, our agave syrup. Yeah. And then we just add a little bit of citric and malic acid from derived from citrus, a little bit of capsaicin from chiles. Yeah. And that's it. It's all natural. It's kosher. It's vegan. It's gluten-free. Like again, all of those terms. But it's most importantly delicious. And then so that's the blanco. And then for the ambar, it's only 2 additional things, which is apple cider vinegar. Yeah. Give it that tartness and that color. And then a little bit of French oak extract. So a little compressed wood. And that's it. But again, you've had a lot of non-alcoholic spirits, and just the flavor of something that is trying to imitate something and something that actually comes from the plant was the whole purpose. So you can definitely taste the difference. We are working on something new. Okay. Let's see, it's July. It's coming, but we're working on something new. And I won't speak about it, but it's fun, it's exciting, and we'll make sure to get you about it. Yeah, for sure. Definitely a teaser. I'm excited to see it whenever it comes out. Awesome. Well, Almave is definitely, like I said, one of the go-tos for me because it's the truest tequila replacement. Like there's some out there that are not the greatest because they use glycerin and other flavorings. It gets close, but again, once you start mixing with it, it opens pretty nice. Yeah, and that's one thing I tell people is like, don't judge it by itself. You need to mix it before you make a decision, right? It might smell weird, might taste weird, but the best way is put in a cocktail, see what it tastes like, and then go from there. 100%. Yeah, and I think that's even, speaking of not only the spirits but cocktail making, how to make non-alcoholic cocktails is a form. It's an art form because it's easier for me to make you an alcoholic cocktail than a non-alcoholic cocktail. At least the balance of it. Yeah, for sure. So we have Almave. We started with Abalos whiskey. Well, I mean, Casa Lumbre itself, we created Milagro Tequila years ago. So we're an incubator company. Yeah. So Milagro has since gone to William Grant, and then Montelobos, Ancho Reyes, that is now with Campari. And then we had Abasolo, Nixta, Ojo de Tigre. We have Gin de las Californias, a dual origin Baja California gin, which is delicious. We have Contraluz Cristalino Mezcal. That was the first ever Cristalino Mezcal on the market. And then now we just recently launched the tequila, the Cristalino Tequila, which is really delicious. We have Noche Luna Sotol with, Ricardo Pico and Don Lalo. Sotol. Yeah, it's delicious. Yeah. And the Vinata is incredible in Don Lalo. The whole Chihuahua experience is incredible. Yeah. That's really amazing. And let's see, we spoke about Almave. Alma Finca Orange Liqueur. So that's from Yucatan, Merida. I mean, I think it's the best orange liqueur on the market. I truly believe that. I haven't had a better flavor one. Yeah. And that's because we're using Naranja Amargas from Merida, from Yucatan. a little bit of achiote, the same spice there, a little bit of the citrus blossoms, and then the spirit itself is a neutral cane as well from there. So everything comes from there. It's delicious. It's 40% ABV too, a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And it's going well. It's doing really well. People are loving it. They tried and like, whoa, like, let me make a margarita or whatever it is. And it really makes it pop. And then, obviously we're always constantly working on something new and some fun stuff. So
yeah, for sure. So Alma Finca is definitely has become my go-to orange liqueur just because of how fresh it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have it in frozen cocktail at one of the places I currently am working with, and it's been selling really well. But it's delicious.
That's right.
And then the event yesterday you guys did was also really awesome.
It was cool.
The competition, you brought in a couple people, right?
For that? Yeah, it was just So as far as bartenders, Joshua Monahan was there, Claudia Cabrera, and then local was Thomas, who's great. But it was just a beautiful, evenly paced event, which is exactly what we wanted. Like you said, it's always like party shots and everything. This was definitely more of the hang out, relax, network, and have a good cocktail, chill by the beach.
Y'all's events are always very chill. In the best possible way. It's like you're not waiting 10 minutes in line because there's just so many people getting a cocktail.
Well, House of Fire.
House of Fire. No, House of Fire was not. House of Fire is probably the more high energy event, but everything else has been pretty. Very nice.
Agreed. Agreed. For sure. Yeah, we pay attention to detail, and our director of advocacy, Camille Austin, is very detail oriented. I've learned. I mean, that's speaking of mentors. In the cocktail side, mentors as an ambassador and in this business. She is one of the greats, and I'm so lucky to be under her. But she has taught me a lot, and one of the biggest thing is attention to detail. Is how do you affect the attendee before they even enter? So that event was great. I'm super proud of it. And we had a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, we're almost to the end of the show. Is there anything else you would like to tell our viewers and listeners?
Have fun, be safe, be yourself. Remember to live in the moment. I know the digital world is taking over, but remember that human interaction is the most important. If you see someone there that's lost or lonely or by themselves, invite them into your group. I think don't be a gatekeeper would be a big one. Connect people. I love connecting people. I sometimes maybe do it a little too much where like I need to slow it down, but I always make sure that if you, Patrick, don't know someone or you haven't met, hey, Patrick, this is so this is you guys should meet. You guys are amazing. Maybe I give a little quick 2-second spiel on who you are, but connect. I think that's the whole point of Tales, because from here, hopefully bigger and better things come out, whether it's the guest shifts, whether it's whatever it may be. So just make sure you introduce people and kind of connect people. This is the whole point of this industry.
Yeah, for sure. Connections are definitely important. 100%. Or networking connections. It's all about that.
Yeah. So that's my only advice and tips. That's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Well, where can people follow you on social media if someone wants to reach out and has any questions?
Yeah, the social media is Cesar, Saysar. Also follow our Casa Lumbre Spirits page. That has all the brands that we create. And I'm probably on there a couple of times too. So Casa Lumbre Spirits or Cesar is probably the best way to reach me. And then, like I said, guys, you guys have questions about whether it's cocktail, brand ambassadorship, anything. I'm always an open ear. I'm always happy to help. I think what gives me the best joy is seeing people grow and succeed. So if I can help you succeed in some way, whether it's a little tip or pointer or an hour conversation on the phone, happy to help.
Yeah, for sure. That's something I appreciate about you as well. You're very open about connections, because that's how I reach out to you on social media, and we started chit-chatting. So
100%.
That's awesome.
So awesome. That's it, man. And again, thank you. And thank you to the guy behind the camera over there, doing the hard work, waking up early and editing. So I just want to thank you guys. I've seen you guys grow, and you guys are crushing it. You guys put some amazing material. So hopefully Swizzle Media blows up, and I can't even reach Patrick at the next Tales because he's so busy and crushing it. But thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much as well for the kind words as well. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us on Cocktail Classified. Again, we'll catch you next week for the next episode, and follow us at Cocktail Classified on social media. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the usual spots. Thanks, y'all.